chat a little bit. I have a question for you today. I'm curious, what time did you start your day today? Were you up bright and early before the sun? Were you up before the kids, before the spouse? Were you rushing out the door trying to be on time for a job? Did you sit in traffic? Did you have time to stop for your coffee? The reason I ask this is because that used to be me. I used to be up and out of the house early, or, I'd work late nights. Working private security, you were always on call. So, some days I was working during the day, sometimes I was working nights. And, one of the things I always found was, one, I don't like mornings. Okay, I've never been a morning person. But one of the things I realized was that I was missing out on a lot. I was missing out on family time. I was missing out on events. I was missing out on doing things with friends and family because I was always on call. So I knew that things had to change. And, my wife and I, we worked full-time jobs. We worked hard and we were just getting by. And it didn't seem right. Didn't seem like it was proper. No matter how hard we worked, we always felt like we were just getting by. And it really hit home the day that we went to the bank and we went and pulled out $20. But in order to do that, we had to switch money between two accounts in order to take $20 out of the bank. Now, for me, that was the moment I realized that things really had to change. It really hit me hard when I realized that I couldn't even take out $20 out of my bank account without switching money between two accounts. And that's when I started looking for opportunities. That's when, my wife and I sat down and said, there has to be more to life. There are other people out there who are doing things that are making money, who have the lives that we want. And, they're no smarter than we are. We just have to figure this out. So we looked for a lot of opportunities. And eventually I found one in the MLM world. And now let me tell you, the MLM world changed my life forever. Okay, I'm very thankful for that 18 years ago. But there were some problems for me. And, number one thing was that if I wasn't buying enough product, then I wasn't making full profit. If my team wasn't working all the way through, I wasn't making profit. And if I wasn't buying the products, then part of my income was going up to my upline. And that really bothered me. I was making 25 to 50%. At the time, I thought it was pretty decent. But, the biggest problem was I was always on the phone. And I hated being on the phone. I mean, I had my earpiece in, and I was talking to people all the time, no matter where I was, right? And that got to be overwhelming. So the biggest shift for me was the day the company reached out and said, hey, thanks for all your hard work. You've done a lot of good things, but unfortunately, our company is going a different direction. In the way you're building your business, you can't do it anymore. Here's a whole new set of rules. Well, let me tell you, that totally derailed a lot for me and got me thinking, maybe this wasn't the right place for me. So over the next couple of years, I definitely looked at different things. I had some ups and I definitely had some downs. But it got to a point where I was thinking, maybe this isn't going to be for me after all. Maybe I will have to go back to the workforce. And then one day, I was on Facebook, and a friend of mine, a mentor of mine actually, was posting about this digital marketing thing. And I was like, this looks kind of cool. And I saw him post again and again. I was like, okay, I got to reach out and find out what this is all about. So I reached out to him. I said, look, I've seen your posts. This looks really interesting, but I want some more information. He says, okay, fair enough. So what you need to do is go to my website, put your email in, watch the videos, get the free 10K and 30-day blueprint. After you do all that, you still have more questions, let's talk. I said, okay, that's fair. I can do that. So I did that. And let me tell you, it blew my mind. I was like, this is really cool. The biggest thing that grabbed my attention was that it's a 2-hour workday. And I thought, Jesus, anybody could do that. A 2-hour workday is something that anybody can do, right? Because we're all busy. We've got families, we've got kids, grandkids, we've got aging parents, we've got responsibilities, we've got jobs. This was important, that a 2-hour workday was all it took. The next thing that I really loved about it was it's a digital product, which means there's no shipping of products. Now, the biggest problem I always had with the MLM world was shipping out products, because you ship out the products one day and maybe 3-4 days later, they may get the products and maybe that excitement isn't there as much anymore. Or maybe they're sitting there going, yeah, I don't have time for this now, right? So getting somebody back on the phone was always a difficult thing for me. I love the fact that because this was a digital automated online business, that people get started right away. They can start on their training right away, start learning how to build their business right away. So that kept that excitement there, and which really, really excited me. And I love that my business was running in the background 24/7. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't, push a button and walk away from it. You still have to do your work every day, but it's 2 hours, right? The rest of the time, the system's working in the background. It's working, selling the products, answering questions. It's showing the videos. It's doing all the stuff in the background, so I don't have to do that all the time, which was really, really exciting, right? I love the fact that we have this huge community. We now have over 60,000 people from all over the world who are building their businesses and following this blueprint. They're following the exact same blueprint that I'm following, right? Which is really cool. There's no, hey, we do this, they do that. It's we all do the exact same thing. And that's really important to me. It was really important because I love the fact that, if Tom down the road or Mary on the other side of the country is doing this, so can I, right? And like I said, because it's digital, guys, this means anybody in the world can do this. If you're watching this, no matter where you are, you can do this business. It doesn't matter if you're in Canada, US, Mexico, Europe, Australia. It doesn't matter if you're in South Africa, right? We have people from ages of 18 to 80 who are building this business. And we have people from all kinds of backgrounds, which actually blew my mind. We have pilots, we have homemakers, we have doctors, we have construction workers, we have security guards, people like me who are building this business, which just absolutely blew my mind because it made me realize that if all these people are doing this and they're no different than you and I, then so can we, right? And that's what really, I really love. Now, one of the things I really loved about this, as you go through the training, afterwards, guys, you're going to go through a quiz, okay? And it's going to test you to make sure that you know what you're talking about. And once you've done that, you become a certified reseller for these digital products. Now, guys, talking about these products, 4 digital products to start with. You know what that's like? That's awesome. That's 4 streams of income right off the bat, which just blew my mind. Hello, Bishop Boy. Hello, The Thing. How are you guys? Welcome. Hello, Anna. Great to see you guys here. I'm glad you're here. I hope you guys are having a great day. So, I love that there's digital products here, right? I am doing awesome. Thanks, Anna. I hope you're doing awesome as well. I love that it's digital products, guys. It makes so much sense nowadays, right? People are busy. It's just so awesome in that aspect. What's another great thing about this, guys, is that we're in the e-learning industry, and this is one of the fastest growing industries in the world right now, okay? That means by this time next year, it's predicted to be over $3 billion a day, okay? Now, how would you like to have a piece of that and say, I'm in a $3 billion a day industry, right? That's exciting. Now, guys, look, if you want to know more about this program that I'm talking about, all you got to do is go to the link in my website and my profile, put your email in and watch some videos, and I will send you that 10K and 30-day blueprint. You can check it all out, and you can get started right away. It's really that simple, and it's so much fun. And, like I said, this isn't going to replace your income overnight. You're not going to be able to walk away from your job. This is not a press a button and forget about it kind of thing. This is something that you have to work at on a daily basis. But for 2 hours a day, I'm sure we can all find that, whether it's, 2 hours straight, an hour here, hour there, or whatever you want to do, right? It's there for you guys. It's there for you for the taking. And, if you're like me and you're tired of missing out on those moments, this could be that opportunity that you've been searching for. The weekend's coming. Why not start it the right way? Why not, go put your information in, go check out this videos, go check out this opportunity and see for yourself. Anyways, guys, I hope that you are having an awesome day, and I am looking forward to chatting with you all again very, very soon. You guys have an awesome day and have a great weekend, okay? I'll talk to you over the weekend.